Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to be starting the front page review, and we're starting with The Nation. We want to know what's been happening. First major headline, electronic transmission of results stays. That's from INEC, no manual system next year. Why inflation won't drop now by experts? $418 million Paris Club refund row. Governors knock consultant. PDP crisis. Wike insists on ASUU sack, makes concessions. APC campaign. We have Keyamo, Alake, Ononuga to lead media directorate. SEC seeks tax exemption for corporate bonds. My faith in judiciary unshaken, says Oyetola. Welfare. Resident doctors serve 2 weeks ultimatum over welfare. Civil society to mobilize against ASUU, and reps take NPA probe to London. So what are we starting with?
I could start with the major headlines.
Okay.
So INEC is saying that the era of manual transmission of election results is gone forever in Nigeria. The electronic transmission of poll results, the electoral umpire said, has come to stay. So the INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Mr. Festus Okoye, said he realized that he had to clarify his position concerning this. He said that there had been newspaper headlines that misinterpreted when he was trying to explain INEC's role going forward for this election, and he went around saying, misinterpreted it in a way that seemed that he was saying that the electronic transmission of our votes was not going to be used in the 2023 elections. But he's saying that it is here to stay, and that it's here to stay because this type electronic transmission of our votes gives it credibility and transparency. So it's going nowhere. And then he's talking to Nigerians. He says, don't just go off a headline. Read. And then we also have a place where you can read up on our guidelines, how we do. We explain everything. Instead, seek the proper information. But he's here to make sure that every Nigerian understands that this electronic transmission is here to stay. And I guess this is also a word to media, especially newspaper headlines. I understand that they tend to put some headlines so that you can just attract readership. But we should be responsible when we do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true.
So I have the $418 million. This story,
You have still been following this. Leave this.
I don't know how I missed the parts of the consultant. Network was speaking on behalf of the consultants.
Okay.
Accused the governors of having received a $100 million gift claim to sponsor election. Mm-hmm. So next one governor come vex. All the governors forum, they now vex. They now responded and released all the names of the consultants and told them. And there's a subsisting Supreme Court judgment that says that the funds of states cannot be attached to any payment, any federal government settlement. And so they're asking them, you go to court and see if the court will give you access to attach state funds for this payment. They named them. First of all, is Ned Munir-Nwoko, who is claiming $68 million of this money. They can't break down the rest because the rest did not attach. Let me not name them, but read the Nation for the follow of this.
If you leave us, give it to PG. So the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NAD, they have served a 2-week ultimatum to the federal and state government to press home the demand of the members. They said one of the reasons that they are going to be stalling on this, waiting another 2 weeks, is because they've seen the body language of government. It seems like government is trying to respond to them. So this additional 2 weeks will give government the time to finalize everything that they have promised them. And they are saying that they are asking the federal government to implement and begin payment of the 2022 Medical Residency Training Fund in full to the members in the old template. While the shortfall, they have to review the template and let it be computed and incorporated into the 2023 budget and paid in arrears. So in 2 weeks, let's see what the federal government will do about it.
Please, we don't need an extra challenge on all the things that we're already going through. The Nation interviewed a few economists concerning the inflation challenges, and the report is it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's based on all the indices, major issues that we're facing, the speculation against the Naira by people. People are calculating and speculating how far the Naira will drop, and also the issue of about 22% increase in the food basket challenges we're facing. There's a lot of pressure from our surrounding Francophone countries on Nigeria for food, surprisingly. And we also have the challenge of political spending. There's a lot of political spending that will go on between now and the 2023 election. So they are not foreseeing that the inflation will go down until probably after the election. So they say Nigerians should brace for the challenges, the high cost of diesel, power, gas, solid fuel, forex importation. You know, all of this would continue to increase the price of inflation. Yes, and that would really help, you know. Moving on to the Punch, major headline. 578 days strike. Angry lecturers dumping varsities. ASUU laments. Government shadow treatment pushing lecturers out of varsity system. That's from the ASUU president. In other news, military ends siege on Somali hotel, 21 dead. Terrible picture that you can see as is really bad. Moving on to other news, black marketer's wife, children die in Lagos explosion. 353 Kirikiri inmates on death row, says NCOS. And we have Ikoyi building, subscribers sue Lagos, seek compensation. 1 trillion naira spent on steel imports. Ajaokuta takes 21 billion naira. Undisbursed loan push Nigeria's World Bank debt to $21 billion. Federal government concludes takeover of 4 discos. Malami has abandoned Attorney General of the Federation role, says the NGF. Many CSOs are PDP members in disguise. And finally, it's the, let's start with the human interest story.
Okay, so a black marketer, his name is Mr. David Olabanji. He lost his wife and his 2 children to an explosion. He's described, this happened at the Antata area of Satellite Town in Lagos State. They said that Mr. David deals with adulteration of petroleum products. So he would sell petrol, diesel, oils, all sorts of petroleum products. And on this particular day, his wife had come to, the wife and children actually live in Ibadan. They came to visit while he and his wife were outside, and it's alleged that he was adulterating his products. The children were inside, and an explosion went off. The wife quickly rushed in to try to save the children, but unfortunately, she died in the fire with the children. The father also, they said, tried to get in but couldn't, but he also sustained some burns, and he's been taken to the hospital. You know, I was just wondering if this is something he was doing with nobody being aware, but the neighbors say they are aware of what he does. In fact, he's the go-to person in their community for when there's no oil, no petrol, any of those products. He's the person that they go to for this product, and how unfortunate that the day that his wife and children come to visit, this happened. Oh, gosh. So, yes, this is really sad, you know, that this happened, but was he involved in adulteration of, you know, petroleum products, and the community was aware?
Honestly, we just overlook some negative things, and the impact is far-reaching.
That's the moral of
it. The impact is far-reaching.
So, I wanted to take the discourse. The Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, had put together or inaugurated the newly constituted board of the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, NEMCO, and this company is taking over 4 discos. These 4 discos, of course, are some of the discos who have been failing. I have another story in the Sun, I think, of, you know, how much they're owing the banks now. And he's inaugurated the NEMCO. I think, according to him, they will take over the functions of those discos and help ease, you know, their services to people in the takeover.
So major headline, yes. So the Academic Staff Union of Universities are raising alarm, saying that a lot of lecturers are leaving the universities for a greener pasture. A lot of them are traveling, relocating. They will say they are going for holidays and then they don't return because of how the government has been treating them so far. But a lot of them during this strike are taking up different businesses. Some went into farming, other businesses, just to find a way to make ends meet. And so when schools resume, finally, after everything must have been sorted, they may not even know that's when it will dawn on them the number of lecturers that may not be coming back, and government needs to do something about this. And the fact that most of them are even relocating abroad, it's very worrisome. We're complaining that we are trying to rejig the university system, and then the little lecturers that we have are relocating. It's, you know, educational.
It's counterproductive.
Exactly, just like the medical one that's happening. So they are asking that the government sits up and
resolve quickly. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with Front Page Review. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. So we're still reviewing the newspapers. Still in Punch, there's a story I wanted to take. The Ikoyi building that collapsed. Subscribers now are seeking for compensation. They said that the claimants, they've come together through their lawyer to sue the Lagos State government. And their main argument is, if the government is going to be acquiring the property that the building was sitting on, it would be tantamount, in my own words, to the government benefiting from the negligence of an agency under government. Because according to the verdicts from the forensic reports, they put the blame on the negligence of agencies of government.
Agencies.
Yes. And if the government is taking possession of that land, it means that the government is benefiting
from your own
from the negligence of an agency under you. So they are asking to be compensated for all of those who have subscribed into that building. Now we're waiting to see what the court will say.
So
Nima, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I'm just saying what the paper said.
Some public policy. Like
I don't even want to. She wants to legalize the conversation. I really don't understand. We're waiting for the court to rule on the issue. We'll take the Daily Sun.
We'll take Nima's thoughts after.
And we'll take Nima's thoughts after the judgment has come in. Major headline: confusion, shock over INEC manual results collation notice, which we have now corrected. Another headline that is confusing people. Paris Club refund, we've taken that story. Stalemate over unearned salaries. CSO vows to mobilize against ASUU. Tom Polo, Ijo Youth, warn Arewa counterpart over inflammatory comments. NDLEA intercepts 2.3 tablets of opioid going to 7 northern states. Kaduna terrorist warlord go into farming, hire locals as laborers. Over 353 inmates on death row in Lagos, and the grieved APC presidential aspirant senators revolt, accusing Tinubu Adamu of isolating stakeholders. So what story are we taking?
Over 353 inmates on death row. So according to the Nigerian Correctional Service, the NCOs, Lagos State, they said no fewer than 353 inmates are on death row at the Kirikiri Custodial Center. They confirmed the number, said about 210 inmates were also serving life jail terms. And according to them, they said they have 5 custodial centers in Lagos: Ikoyi, Badagry, Kirikiri, Female, Kirikiri Medium, and Kirikiri Maximum. And the Ikoyi Custodial Center was built to accommodate 800 inmates. However, it hosts about 2,400 inmates, while the Kirikiri Maximum Custodial Center was built to accommodate 1,006 inmates, and that has about 2,100 inmates. So they are saying now that the Medium Custodial Center, built to host 5,930 inmates, has even less inmates that it's supposed to be holding. And those people who are on the death row committed offenses like armed robbery, murder, treason, fabricating false evidence, death of an innocent person, aiding and suicide of a child, or lunatic, and kidnapping. And those people are on the death row right now.
Crimes.
So I really do not know how long they're going to be on that death row before. We don't hear of a hangman anymore. We don't hear of those.
Execution.
Execution, yeah.
Wow.
So if they've exhausted their appeal, it's proper to do for the governors. The governors are the ones keeping them. I hope that they know that taxpayers' money are also paying for
Funding them.
So I wanted to take the anxiety over 800 billion naira loan hold to the deposit money banks. So the Sun did a report that they got from the CLSL Stockbrokers Limited. And this report shows that about 562.9 billion is owed by power generation firms and independent power producers, while transmission and distribution firms owe 273.89 billion naira to the deposit money banks. And the banks, of course, are fretting over this issue. when the privatization was done in 2013, according to this report, there was hope that we would have reached 40,000 megawatts by now. But now we're still on 3,000 megawatts, and it's showing that, you know, it's not, all the money pumped into the sector is not being productive. It's not yielding the necessary results. The CBN also has a report of how much they've built out that sector to the tune of 1.3 billion in this same report, and how it's not really showing in some of these discos. So, as the government have said, they have already set up, in the first story I took in the Punch, a committee to recover about 4 of the discos. I hope that recovery of the discos will
does
be
not affect,
because it was from PHCN, they moved to privatization, and now they are moving back to government. Just hope it works out well.
I want to take the story. Did you take an NDLEA story?
Yes, I did, but I took it in another paper.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to give their own reports to the other. Let's
move on to Vanguard. Major headline: strike. Federal government considering ban on ASUU. You are a source of inspiration to many. Omo Agege tells Olu of Warri. Train attack can't seek quick rescue of Azufa Lewis. Others. PDP crisis. Atiku camp may call Wike's bluff. Announce campaign committee. Adeleke Oyetola, stop diversion of government funds. And bandit kingpin, Dogo Guide, sees large farm in Biringwari. I'm just...
Oh, God.
You did well.
I'll give it to Miriam.
I really wish that we took the story of the farm, this bandit that seized farm and is now hiring people as laborers.
No, I don't have it. I wanted to take it, but it wasn't in the paper. Oh, the headline is there, but the story wasn't there.
So. All right, so Olu of Warri.
Okay, so the APC governorship candidate and the senator what's his son? Well, a senator in Delta State, Deputy Senate President, was at the 1-year coronation anniversary of the Olu of Warri. Himself, the former camp president, Ayori Shedafo. And, you know, of course, it's an opportunity to laud His Royal Majesty, the Ogame of Ogame II. Sorry. If I ask Ogame Atuashe III of Ishekiri land. And so, of course, he was commending him, lauding his position, you know, saying he's a blessing and an inspiration to many, talking about how he's continued to unify his people and the people of Delta State all together. And let me use the opportunity to say congratulations to the...
all of us congratulate
his first-year anniversary.
I saw a place where he was seated, and I guess the subject that, you know, from the place, they stop, kneel down and bow to him properly, and it does not matter their age.
That's how it
gave me so much pride, you know.
In our tradition.
Goosebumps.
Yes. He's a young king, but he's
been afforded the respect that he deserves.
It's true, not him, not the age.
So
major headline, yes. Yeah. So the Ministry of Education have told, I think they were talking to the Vanguard, and they said that if ASUU refuses to reciprocate the federal government's gesture, by calling off the strike, the government will consider the option of proscribing the union. So I don't know what they will be proscribed. And they were saying that the gesture the federal government is talking about is the fact that they have approved additional 100 billion for the universities and about 57 billion for polytechnics and colleges of education. They say they are not going to get involved in how it's going to be shared. They will pay to the schools, and the schools will carry out the sharing formula however they deem fit. And they said also they are reviewing the 2009 agreement. They have approved 35% increase in salary for professors and 23.5% increase for other lecturers. Government also approved 50 billion for end allowances for the striking unions. And so it will be unpatriotic that after government has done all of this or said that they will do all of this, that the strike continues. And if it continues, they are going to be proscribed. As on the other hand, they're saying that this amount of money you're calling, you're saying you're going to put it in the 2023 budget, and they are not going to wait for it. They are also asking for their 6-month salary, that they are not going to take the no work, no pay policy. So everybody's still adamant as I speak.
Meanwhile, insecurity still is rife. So the story that we couldn't see in The Sun was actually in Vanguard. A notorious bandit, his name is Dogo Kachala Gide, had seized several farmlands in Biringwari local government area of Kaduna State. He has like 5 tractors that plow the large farmland. and is bordering on Zamfara State. The chairman of Biringwari Emirates Progressive Union has said that they've observed many farmers don't have access to their farmland. Some of them have to pay to access their farmland, and some of them, as a means of livelihood, are now laborers for the bandits. Said that some of these bandits, the bandits actually, there's no physical proof of a democratically elected leadership within the community.
Yes.
Bandits carry their guns, different types of rifle on the streets within the community. He mentioned how, he said, farmers have paid millions of naira individually and in groups before they were allowed access to their farmland. Also mentioned that the community and bandits are going around with rifle unchallenged. In fact, there's no presence of democratic governments in this area. It is based on the situation that helpless locals were left with no other option than to accept the offer by bandits to negotiate for access for their land. The areas such as Katakaki, Ganda, Mashigi, Ginsa, Biskin, access to their farmland were not accessible they've not had access to their farmland for 3 years, and they have to go through the bandits. And I'm deliberately reading the story because sometimes it will seem like they are not our leaders, some of our leaders are not aware. In case
what's
they don't
really
know,
happening, they would have said
at least we have heard this
Vanguard
one.
has reported.
Vanguard has reported. Moving on to our last paper for today, Nigerian Tribune. We've taken the story about the $418 million Paris Club refund, but there are like 3 stories we haven't taken. Ogunkago Airport to accommodate commercial flights, how COVID-19 insecurity rendered businesses inactive for 17 free trades, active in 17 free trade zones. Resident doctors strike. We've taken that story as well. So, NDLEA, they say NDLEA has given us their reports again, and they're saying that over 2.3 million tablets of illicit pharmaceutical opioids and other psychoactive substances that were meant for distribution in Borno, Kano, Kaduna, Sokoto, and Zamfara, Gombe, and Nasarawa states have been intercepted by them. They said the total of over 2.3 tablets and capsules of tramadol, pregabalin, Hypnox, diazepam, and Exol 5. There are some other psychoactive million. There are also over 7,000 bottles of new psychoactive substance locally called Akuskura, meant for 7 states across, and they were seized from locations across Kaduna, Kogi, Sokoto, and FCT. There are other arrests that were made. There's a 60-something-year-old man who was arrested with illicit drugs that he would normally ship to his daughter in Dubai, I guess, for her to distribute, and so many other arrests.
That's a grandfather, I think.
It is well. We have Nkurumiri somewhere and then Akuskura somewhere else.
I wanted to quickly say the story of the Ogun Cargo Airport. So presently, the governor has announced that they're building a cargo airport in Ogun State, in Ilashan Remo. And that airport's construction started in March. They are looking to finish in December. And they want to break a record of the shortest time to build an airport. I would rather that they focus on the best quality.
But that's already on ground now.
Best.
All of them, one doesn't have to go for the other.
No, it's congratulations.
Because they did not mention it. Please congratulate my
Congratulations on the government.
No, they should.
No, we don't want to be innovating.
We have an airport that we're trying to, we cannot use
now.
Okay, that's true.
This is Nigeria.
That's
so the reminder is good, but then congratulations to the Ogun State government for the speedy work in doing what they want to do. That's all we can take on Front Page Review for today. When we come back, we go into the hot topic. What's hot? Stay with us. We'll be right back.